All right, so let's talk about what has gone on today. So in today's daily news report, I want to talk about the IRS funding problems, what we're seeing there, and how actually providing $80 billion to the IRS could come back and bite us because they may come after us, the lower income earners, not the billionaires and the multimillionaires. That's not what we're going to see, and I will address why that's a huge problem in today's video. Going to address the increased oil production and what the energy secretary is saying. We're going to talk about President Biden's reelection and also the vegetable recall. So if you have any questions on any of this stuff, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. Let's get started. First off, I want to touch on President Biden's reelection and why this is such a big deal now. Again, his reelection wouldn't come until 2024 if he does get reelected. But the problem is Democrats are already facing a lot of issues within the House and the Senate, and they're saying with President Biden's diminished numbers, right, and his polls, it's not looking great. It's not looking great because his popularity right now is hurting all the other Democrats. So, President Biden recently told former President Barack Obama he wants to run for re-election in 2024. Okay, but it's because of this news Democrats are now expected to do much more to try and remain in control of the House and the Senate for the upcoming midterm elections. Now, obviously, Democrats never wanted to lose. They don't want to lose control, but even more so now because President Biden is planning on rerunning for president. Now, the reason why this is such a big deal is because they will have to do more. They promised child tax credits and those additional payments. Well, if we don't see those, that's going to hurt Democrats. If we don't see more affordable housing, which is a big promise that many Democrats, both progressives and moderates, they all promise this. If we don't see more affordable housing soon, Democrats are going to lose. They're going to lose in the upcoming midterm election. So these are just a couple promises. But again, this is what the American voters are looking at is, okay, they promised us this and that and all these other things, and they haven't delivered. That's an issue. Then obviously we got rising inflation. So they got to do something, and they have to do something quickly. Now, here's something else that's being kind of discussed. And you may have noticed that gas prices, or the price of a barrel of gas, has actually risen in recent days. Well, here's what you need to understand, because I know a lot of people are extremely concerned. They're worried, well, what's going to happen if gas prices keep going up? Is this that dip that we saw now? They're just going to rocket to the moon? Well, the truth is you shouldn't really be too concerned about this in the long term, and here's why. We know that the U.S. Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm, she said that the government has already taken the steps necessary to increase domestic energy supply significantly by the end of the year. Okay, well, that's great. It's the end of the year. Well, what about today? What about next week? What about next month? Well, that could potentially be a big issue. She also mentioned that the U.S. is trying to identify 3 million barrels per day in new global supply. Now, remember that number, 3 million barrels. And she also said that right now, that this was backed by many high-level executives in the U.S. that have made multiple assurances that they will dramatically increase their investments to bring online new oil rigs. And so, if this happens, it could mean we have more of a supply, and if the demand stays the same or even comes down, well, that's good news. It's going to bring prices down as well. Now, here's the other good news. The other good news is that the Biden administration is talking with Brazil about increasing their oil production, because Brazilian energy ministers said that they are currently outputting around 3 million barrels per day, and they are looking to increase production by 10%. This would bring them up to 3.3 million barrels per day by the end of 2022. Remember how I told you to think about that 3 million. That 3 million number, that's what the Biden administration was looking at. That's where they wanted to see some more global support, right? Well, they could get that from Brazil. Now, the U.S. is looking for other sources of oil as well, but the only problem is that it could take some time before we really see the price of oil and gas ultimately come down. because a lot of people say we need the price of oil to come down below $100 per barrel. If it stays above that, it's going to be too expensive. So again, we'll see what happens. Now, something else that's being pushed right now is additional funding to the IRS. The IRS has been struggling to get through all the tax returns from 2020. They're working through the tax returns of 2021. And they have an insane backlog that they say will take them months to get caught up. Okay, but why is this? Well, this is one of the issues. And this is why many are saying that the IRS can't go any further. They have to go and get more funding. They need additional funding. Well, here's what lawmakers are telling us. Lawmakers are telling us that the IRS can't go after tax cheats if they don't have the funding necessary to hire new agents. This is why, according to reports, the White House, this is the main reason why the White House wants to provide $80 billion to the IRS. And according to the Congressional Budget Office, or the CBO, they have said that $80 billion would help the IRS expand their budget by about 90%. And it would at least double the amount of employees that they currently have, which obviously Democrats want the IRS to get additional money because it would be used to audit more taxpayers. Now, Republicans say this isn't a wise use of money because the IRS has shown time and time again that they misuse funds. Now, I think that's interesting. I think that's somewhat ironic that the IRS, who's supposed to be good with numbers, they oftentimes misuse their own money, or technically our money. So it is what it is. But here's what you need to understand, and this is a big concern that I have, is that giving the IRS more money to go after tax cheats is one thing, and that's great. You go after people that are trying to cheat the system, right? Playing by different set of rules. That's a good idea. Here's the problem. It's reported that the IRS is 4 times more likely to audit a low-income earner than a wealthier individual. So Elon Musk may not get audited because, well, according to the IRS expert, they say the IRS doesn't have seasoned agents that understand the tax code enough to be able to efficiently audit somebody with multiple incomes and many deductions. So somebody like Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, they're not going to get audited because their tax returns are just too complex. But somebody with a lot less money coming in, a lot less deductions, well, they're easy. They're easy to go after, so that's who we're going to target, and that's who's going to pay for all this new tax revenue from the IRS. You see how screwed up that is? So that's one of the reasons why I have an issue with this additional funding. Otherwise, okay. But right now, this is not the best use of funds, is to go after the people that don't have a whole lot of money. Makes absolutely no sense. Now, the last thing I want to do today is I want to warn you on a vegetable recall. Because if you purchased zucchini recently from Walmart, then you might want to take it back to the store because of a recent recall and get your money back. Just the other day, the FDA found traces of salmonella on zucchini from the organic market side zucchini packages. So if you bought zucchini, okay, from any of the following states, then you need to check the packaging for the specific lot number. And I will tell you what that lot number is in just a second. Here are the states. There's Arizona, Arkansas, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Nebraska, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Texas, and Wisconsin. If you bought zucchini from any of those, from a Walmart in any of those states, this is the lot number you need to be looking for. The case lot number is 387-06503, and the UPC code is 6-81131-22105-4. Okay? The reason why I want to bring that up is because even healthy people who consumed this bacteria can develop a fever, nausea, vomiting, and even abdominal pain. So again, this is not something that you want. Throw the zucchini away if you did buy it, or take it back to the store. So that's what we know at this time. As always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on, share all the latest news and updates. Again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.